As for the AFC East, I think we all know who's going to take that division. The Miami Dolphins, of course! No, I'm kidding. In Ryan Tannehill's dreams, maybe. No, it's the New England Patriots. They're the team to watch as usual, but while the team continues to be successful on the field, there are a lot of questions and concerns coming out of training camp. Joining me on the program today to discuss this further is Joe Calabro. He covers the Patriots for GoLocalProv.com in Providence, Rhode Island.
How you doing, Joe?
Hey, Nick, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me on your podcast, Sports.
Absolutely, anytime. So tell me, what's the biggest story right now coming out of Patriots camp?
Well, today, obviously, we taped this on a Wednesday. The biggest story today was that they cut Jordan Matthews.
I saw that.
The wide receiver. He had a hamstring injury. It's rumored, I think Ian Rappaport reported that it could be serious and could be season ending, And so the Patriots cut him today. And so now their wide receiver depth is really down. I know they worked out Eric Decker earlier this week. Obviously, you're familiar with Decker from his time in New York, with Denver, and I think he played for. I can't think of the team he played for.
He was also with the Titans last year.
Oh, you're right. That's correct.
Yep.
So you guys are familiar with Decker, and he said he's wanted to come to the Patriots. So we'll see if that if they make it happen now that they need him. But he worked out. And, other injuries today, Sonny Michel, the rookie running back, that they drafted, he walked off the field with an injury today. Not sure if it's serious or not. It could be just one of those could be a cramp. And then Marcus Cannon also got hurt, and he's a left tackle prospect. Obviously, the Patriots are short on left tackles because they let Nate Solder go to the Giants for an absurd amount of money. So that was a big loss for them, but I wasn't expecting them to pay Nate Solder as much as the Giants did, but so now left tackle is a big question going into the season. And now Cannon got hurt today. Again, we're not sure the severity of the injury, or if it's really a major injury at all. But these injuries starting to pile up early in training camp here. So now there's thoughts that the rest of the training camp could be running a lot of running plays because they don't have too many wide receivers to throw to. Because Matthews is gone, Edelman is suspended for the first 4 games, so throwing to him is kind of useless, right? And then Kenny Britt, who the Patriots brought over last year, he's banged up, and Malcolm Mitchell, who's a rookie a couple years ago, 2 years ago, and really came on strong as a rookie. He's been out, he's still out, and he was out all of last season. And there's thoughts that he could be done for the season again. And there's rumors or not rumors, but reports that the Patriots have looked to shop him and move on from him as well. And he was going to be a stud receiver for the Patriots, who don't do well with drafting receivers. He was going to be the first one since Deion Branch probably. So, it's been a struggle here at the receiver position. A position that was already a major concern is now again a bigger concern. But again, they worked out Eric Decker, who would be a pretty nice pickup. He's been a good player for his career. So we'll see what they do the next couple of days here. But yeah, today was an injury day, it seemed like. And, it's too bad because I had high hopes for Jordan Matthews that he was going to work out, but obviously they thought otherwise.
What's your take on Tom Brady right now? How's he looking out there?
I didn't make it to camp today, but people said he's looked rusty at times. He missed almost all of the off-season training camp, or OTAs, whatever it is. He came to the mandatory ones. I always got them confused. OTAs, mandatory OTAs.
We'll figure it out one day.
What are we doing? Whatever what it was. he skipped the not mandatory OTAs, and then he came to the practices that he had to come to, and he's looked rusty. He's missed some passes. You got to remember, he has no chemistry with any of these receivers.
Right.
Other than Edelman, who again is suspended for the first 4 games, so he's useless to throw to him at this point. And so he looked rusty, but we're still weeks away from the season opener, so I'm sure he's going to figure it out. But there's people already starting to talk that the missing time has hurt him. So we'll have to monitor that as we get closer. And I think the first preseason game is next week, and so we'll see if he plays. We'll see how he looks and see where he's at with building chemistry with these guys that he's not really familiar with. So he has Hogan, who's been a pretty good player for the Patriots, and other than that,
they still have Gronkowski.
They still have Gronkowski, but he's not. Technically call him a receiver. It's all So
okay, that's fair.
he's a tight end. But if they go into week 1 with Hogan and Gronkowski, it's a pretty easy cover. And that's kind of what it's looking like right now. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's still early. It's still the first almost full week of training camp. They started last Thursday, and now tomorrow will be, a full week, technically. So we'll see where they're at when the first preseason game comes. But right now, there'll be a lot of new faces, and it could be a lot of running, a lot of hand.
Not as much tossing from Brady, huh? I think I like the sound of that one.
Yeah. Well, Sonny Michel is a running back who can catch out of the backfield. He's done it before. He's done it in college, and everyone said that he's going to be a stud. So my opinion was I hated the pick. I thought taking a running back in the first round was a complete waste. Because personally, I really wanted them to take Lamar Jackson from the quarterback from Louisville. That would have really made training camp interesting. Him competing with, not necessarily competing with Brady, but someone to kind of give Brady a little kick,
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted them to do. So I don't know why they took a running back, but everyone said that this kid's supposed to be a stud, and so he's shown some flashes in camp so far. He's definitely fast, and so we'll see how they use him. They got to fill the role that Deion Lewis left. That could be his role. They also have Burkhead, who can kind of catch out of the backfield as well. Problem is he can't stay healthy. And then they have James White, who's kind of Mr. Reliable at this point. And then they have a bunch of other guys. A couple of guys that signed. Jeremy Hill, I think he came over from Cincinnati. I believe that's correct. But I don't think he's going to make the team. I'd be surprised if he makes the team. And then they got the fullback in James Devlin, who's a local guy. He went to Brown University here in Rhode Island, so there's always love for him around here. But he's not really a playmaker. He's usually more of as a blocker. So there's a lot of questions with the Patriots. There's tons of questions at receiver, more questions than there were a few days ago. And running back, it's kind of the position battle, the big position battle to see who's gonna be that number one guy and who's gonna, are they gonna get cut? Are they gonna get traded? And who's going to get the majority of the snaps. You would think, James White is locked in, I would imagine. With the Patriots, never say never. But I would imagine he's locked in. And the other guys, we'll see where they kind of fall here over the next couple of weeks. And again, the first preseason game is always interesting because you always see where guys are on the depth chart. You see who's kind of playing with the second stringers. And, for example, one thing that I saw when I went on Saturday was the Patriots signed Jason McCourty, obviously Devin's brother.
Yeah. Jason
McCourty was playing with the second teamers. He was in second team reps, which is never really a good sign. So it's kind of one of those things like, would Belichick really cut Devin McCourty's brother? But
you never know with Belichick though.
First week of camp and you're playing with the second teamers. That's not really a good sign, in my opinion. Who knows? But they have their reasons for all this stuff. But maybe he's rehabbing an injury. Maybe he's, learning the playbook slowly or something. You never really know. But I just thought that was quite interesting. Jason and team reps. So, but
Joe, I'm losing you a little bit there.
Really talking.
Oh, hold on.
Really?
We got you back. You're back.
Oh, that was weird. I didn't lose you on mine. The magic of technology.
So, we mentioned Belichick a little bit. How do you feel about all the controversies right now coming out of camp between Belichick, the Krafts, Tom Brady? Think there's some legitimacy to those stories?
Yeah, of course. It's all legit. Everyone blasted that ESPN article that was released last year. I think that was released just before the playoffs started or the week of the playoffs, whatever it was. And everyone was blasting it. All the Patriots fans were blasting it. And, maybe it was a little bit exaggerated. I think some of the stuff probably wasn't really true. Like they said, one of the things they said was Brady, got Brandon Cooks injured. Got Hogan injured on a play and something like that. And then when you watch the play, and it's like, okay, that was the read he made was actually the right read if you watch the play and break it down. So I thought that was kind of silly. But the rest of it, I think, is in some true. I think that Belichick really wanted to keep Garoppolo. There was reports last week that he had been texting Garoppolo after all of the wins with the San Francisco 49ers. After he traded Garoppolo, he did a conference call with the media here. He said that he talked to Jimmy, every week. They met once a week to talk about, the game and everything, which you never hear anybody do with a backup quarterback. And so I think Belichick saw Garoppolo and thought he was kind of the next guy. I think he saw, another 10 years or so, maybe another 1 or 2 championships. I mean, you never know what championships. I don't want to, overstate it, but that's what I'm saying. What he probably saw, and then he saw Tom Brady at 41. He said, "Okay, well, I think Belichick would have made the move to trade Tom Brady, but the Kraft said, no, we're not trading
You think he would have traded
quarterback
Tom Brady?
I think if he got the right offer, I think he got it. They would have changed.
I mean, there are a lot of desperate teams out there for quarterbacks, so I suppose somebody could have come along with something lucrative.
I mean, with Belichick, he's done it before. He traded Richard Seymour. He traded Larry Malloy.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and all these guys were big-time pieces back then. He cut Ty Law. Ty Law ended up finishing his career was it with the Jets or Kansas City? I think it was Kansas City, but nonetheless,
Kansas City. Yeah.
He did finish as a Patriot. So he traded Randy Moss in the middle of the season.
Right.
In 2010. Now Randy Moss was giving them problems, and he had his own issues, as we all know. So I'm not, saying that was the wrong move. It was the right move. He traded Randy Moss. He brought back Deion Branch, who's one of Brady's best friends, and it ended up working out, obviously.
Yeah.
But he didn't make the move in the middle of the season. And so these guys do these things. You see this stuff all the time in any sport. These trades happen, and we think of it as fans. We're sentimental to everything, right? We're sentimental, to Brady and to Belichick and whatever sport. Larry Bird is sentimental around here for Celtics fans, and obviously he should be and all this stuff. But these guys look at it as a business, and that's the one thing you realize when you cover these teams and really cover them is like it's really a business. There's no, thanks for everything you did and yada yada yada. Goodbye. we're moving on because you're 41 and this kid is 20 something, and we have a chance to extend the dynasty. So I think there was a chance. I'm not saying he definitely would have done it. Obviously, the offer had to be there, and or maybe they would have worked out a deal where Brady would have retired or stayed 1 or 2 more years and would have retired and kind of that semi-retirement, we're kicking you out type of thing that you see a lot. So maybe they would have worked something like that out, or whatever the case may have been. But I think Belichick would have considered it if the offer was there, and I think he really liked Jimmy Garoppolo, and so that's still going on. The Malcolm Butler thing is still a story. Why he benched Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl?
Right.
People still have answers. We never got an answer for that. Now Malcolm Butler has handled it pretty well, given the circumstances. He's talked out in Tennessee, and he said everything's good between him and Belichick, and et cetera, et cetera. So, but Belichick was asked in his first press conference of training camp. He was asked by a reporter for the Boston Globe, "Why did you bench Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl?" And he basically said that we're on to 2018. So
he wouldn't even touch that subject.
He's not going to answer the question, but hopefully people keep asking to a certain extent. So that's still going on. Then the whole Brady thing still going on. Belichick was asked about Brady showing up to camp early, because Brady reported on Monday. But Belichick said, he showed up when he was supposed to show up, because all quarterbacks and injured reserve players are supposed to show up the Monday before camp. So he didn't give Brady any credit for showing up early. In fact, Belichick said he didn't show up early.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. And then Brady was asked in his press conference on Saturday. Brady spoke this past Saturday for the first time in training camp, and he was asked his thoughts on the whole Belichick, controversy and everything. And he said, his thoughts on Bill Belichick. And he said, quote, "I have no thoughts." Unquote. That's all he said. So I'm not sure how you have no thoughts on somebody that you've been with for.
Yeah.
years, whatever it is. But so by saying nothing, he actually said a lot in that statement. So it's pretty fascinating. It'll be interesting to see this season. They struggle at times. If they go on a 2 or 3 game losing streak, it'll be interesting to see how they respond to Belichick, especially the older guys that have been there, or then they rub off on the new guys. So it's going to be interesting to see in a couple of weeks. I mean, Hightower's back. The defense still is terrible. I mean, Hightower is back, but okay, at some point. And then the cornerback, you have Stephon Gilmore, who played decent at the end of the season, but he was useless for the first half of the season. This year, he can't afford to do that because he's the only guy. So, but I wonder if teams are just going to throw away from him. Just throw to the 3 other cornerbacks that are mediocre.
I mean, even with all the controversies, Joe, I always feel like the Patriots, they do better when this type of stuff comes up. I don't know if you feel the same way, but.
Oh, they have. I mean, you look at that when that ESPN story came out last year, and they ripped off a Super Bowl run, and they were a Tom Brady fumble away from possibly storming down the field and beating the Eagles. Because if you watch that game, they couldn't stop the Eagles, and the Eagles couldn't stop them, especially in the second half. So, and the Eagles made a great defensive play, so obviously give them credit, but. So, it's one of those things. They're also a potential Malcolm Butler benching away from winning that game because all they needed was one stop, and you got to believe that Butler could have made at least one of those tackles or made a play or something. I mean, never say never, but you can always play the what if game till.
Of course. So
forever.
If the Patriots are still number 1, who's number 2 then in the AFC East?
In the AFC East. They got to be Buffalo, right? I mean, they made the playoffs last year, even though they kind of laid an egg of sorts against Jacksonville. But they got to be number 2, you imagine. But again, it's Buffalo. They can,
it could be anything, honestly. Definitely not the Jets. Are you sure?
The Jets. I mean, we had a pre-show chat the day, Tuesday night before we did this show, and you talked about, I thought the Jets, Josh McCown probably deserved 2 to 3 more wins than he had last year.
That's true.
And now maybe that puts them in the playoffs. I don't remember, but it puts them there, puts them close.
Let's see. They probably still would have missed the playoffs, but they would have had an even record.
Yeah.
So.
And now they got. I don't know who they signed this year. I think they should play Sam Darnold.
I think they should too. Apparently, he's been looking good in camp. He's been making some big plays. It's the receivers that are letting him down, but he's got to build a little bit more of a rapport with some of their receiving corps.
Yeah, that'll come, but it'll be interesting to see how they do. And then Miami, they got Danny Amendola, but
I think that was the only guy they brought in. I mean, they lost. Who'd they lose? Landry. They lost Sue. They lost Pouncey. Miami lost a lot this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, and they're Ryan Tannehill, who I don't have tons of confidence in. I know
no, not at all.
He's had a decent career, I guess.
I think they're worse with Tannehill starting for them, but maybe that's just my opinion.
Yeah, so, they're not going to be able to get Danny Amendola the ball. So he'll have fun. But hey, making $6 million, he's living on South Beach. Life could be worse for him. I'm sure.
There's going to be no pressure on him being in Miami because, it's going to be on everybody else.
There's no pressure in Miami.
Yeah.
Don't worry. So. The stadium is empty. Except for when the Patriots go down there. Then the stadium is full.
Of course, you got all the retarees from Massachusetts.
So, it's going to be an interesting rest of the training camp here in New England, and I'm sure across the league as well. I know, you guys are in New York, so I know the Giants are making some waves. Eli's back, and Saquon Barkley's looked pretty good from everything I've read. So that'll be interesting to see how they do if they can get back to be competitive in that division. And then across the league, I mean, I think LA Rams are favorites. Everyone loves to talk to potentially see them and to win something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the funny story is John Gruden in Oakland.
I was just thinking about that today. The guy hasn't coached in, 9 years, right?
Something like that, at
Yeah.
least. And so now he's in Oakland, and we're going to find out real quick if the game has passed him by or not.
Yeah.
Because
15, they signed 15 free agents. Every one of them was 29 years old and up. They're an older team right now in Oakland.
Yeah, for sure. So, we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah. All right. Well, Joe, I appreciate you joining us today. Thanks for stopping by.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. Good luck with your podcast.
Thanks you.
Remember, you can catch Joe Calabro at golocalprov.com. Hey, did you enjoy that clip? Oh, awesome. I'm glad to hear it. You can hit that subscribe button below. That way you can find out anytime we post a new video. You can find us on Twitter at Sports3x Podcast or email us, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Apple Podcasts. Just type in Sports with Nick Drago. New episodes come out every Sunday night.